Tonight, it is my pleasure to welcome you all here to celebrate the induction of 20 former athletes and coaches and 3 teams into the Hopkinton High School Athletic Hall of Fame. Hopkinton High School has a proud history of athletic achievement, and the inductees being honored tonight stand at the forefront of contributors to that history. The Hall was founded to honor great athletes of the past, to ensure that their performances and accomplishments will never be forgotten. The Board of Directors is extremely proud of the individuals being inducted tonight. We think you will all agree that their glory is Hopkinton's glory, and that their achievements have reflected well on our community. This is the 30th anniversary of the initial induction ceremony and our 6th ceremony. The 20 new inductees bring the overall total to approximately 120, spanning the 100 years of athletic competition at Hopkinton High School. This represents a very select group of individuals, on the order of 1% of athletes over that period. So you should all be very proud of your achievements and this honor. Over the past 30 years, the Hopkinton High School athletic program has flourished, producing multiple league championship teams, state championship teams, and amazing athletes. We hope the success continues for years to come. We also hope this event continues to stir up productive nostalgia and fosters school pride. Although the Hall of Fame was founded to honor great athletes of the past, this is in no way intended to diminish the effort of all other athletes, coaches, and supporters. The very essence of high school athletics is based on participation, and although the abilities of others may not have matched those of the inductees, the importance of their participation cannot be overstated. Although these athletes, coaches, and supporters may not have attained the lofty levels of achievement of the Hall of Fame members, we would not be here tonight to honor these inductees were it not for them. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of those who have made this evening possible, from the Board of Directors to the school department and to all the Hopkinton High School athletes. Mostly, though, thanks go to the athletes, coaches, and teams being inducted tonight for the memories they have given us and for the greatness that will always be part of Hopkinton High. One thing before we start, I did want to mention that Coach Bliss wishes to pass along his congratulations to all the inductees, and especially to those that played for him. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to make it tonight. He just isn't feeling quite up to it, but he's disappointed, but he really congratulates everybody. So we have a wonderful evening ahead of us, so sit back and enjoy. Mark, you want to kick us off here?
Good evening. I'm honored tonight to get to introduce Coach Ken Burt. Coach Burt was a Hopkinton physical education teacher for more than 30 years. He coached basketball and baseball. He started the Hiller soccer team and was the boys' first coach. He ran an annual gymnastics program and introduced the jazz band to Hiller sports. I was going to say basketball, but, we liked it too. And he was a role model and mentor for hundreds of Hopkinton students. For many of us, Coach Burt was a life coach, decades before we knew we needed one. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Ken Burt.
Yeah. Well, I'm here, and I hope you, and I made it, so I've got to realize that all of the things that have happened, I'm just so happy that I was in Hopkinton. And I had some real good players, and I had Roy Davis sitting right there as my assistant for the JV teams. And I remember when I first came, I met with them and they said, "We're no good." I went like this, "You're no good. You're going to be better when I get through with you." And so, we really worked hard. And it was something of a thrill for me to come tonight to see all of you and to see all the others that have been coaches and teachers in the Hopkinton setup. And I think that if we have people like you and myself doing things with the kids, we need to work with our kids, because we got a lot of them that get in trouble, do things differently. And I'm just so proud that I could be able to talk with my students and make sure that they did things. And I told them, you gotta have to have your grades first, sports second, and then you can do something on your own. But I always wanted them to be people who really want to help others in certain situations. And I always had the players that I really enjoyed and had a good time. And I often think of that when they said, we're no good. And I said, you are gonna be good, because you're gonna work hard, school first, sports second. And I always did that with my boys. Roy was good with me, Roy Davis over here, my assistant, and he used to take the younger ones and I would get them after Roy had them. And Roy was good with them, and he really did a good job, and I'm very proud to be with him. So now I'm going to have to leave and say for others that it's time maybe someone else can come up and talk. So thank you.
Congrats, Coach. Our next inductee is Dave Cross, class of 1948. Dave is no longer with us and doesn't have any family, but Dave was a football, basketball, and baseball star at Hopkinton High. He was an outfielder in baseball, hit in the middle of the lineup with many multi-hit games over his 4 seasons. And he was a guard and forward on the basketball team during his 4 seasons on the hard court. Although he excelled at basketball and baseball, if I'm not close enough to the mic, just put your hand up, sorry. It was his play on the gridiron that earned him the most recognition. He was the halfback and captain of the undefeated 1947 football team, the second undefeated football team in Hopkinton history. Quoted Coach Welch, Dave Cross was our high scorer and the team's spark plug. He scored 90 points this season. He had many games with multiple touchdowns, huge punts, and came back from injury to lead the team to a tie against Holden to keep their unbeaten record intact. He was named Class D All-Star following the season. Dave also served as class president his sophomore year and class treasurer during his senior year. After graduation from Hopkinton, he joined the Navy and served in Korea during the Korean conflict. After being discharged from the service, Dave received a degree from Suffolk University. He went on to have a long career at IBM. Dave could be found at most football games and many other sporting events later in life. He didn't do anything to bring attention to himself, but he would toss a player a nice game now and then. He was just the humble Hopkinton High School Athletic Hall of Famer. Congratulations, Dave. Our next induction is a team induction. It's the actual 1947 football team. And I get a lot of this information out of articles that my dad had cut out over the years, so I'll get through it as quickly as I can, but it's pretty interesting. So prior to the 1947 season, Coach Chick Welch said he enjoys a promising outlook for the season with a wealth of substitutes for each spot. And from the team photo you can see in the program, there's 22 players on the team. So I'm not quite sure where his definition of wealth of substitutes was, but the season started with 5 straight wins over Westford, St. Charles, Medway, Westboro, and Weston. But the win over Weston left Coach Welch most frustrated, stating, "Our play fell far below expectations and we barely squeezed out a victory." Captain Cross was injured and thought to be out for the game against the Holden team that was considered to be the toughest opponent all season. During the Holden game, Holden was ahead throughout the game before Cross made his appearance in the third quarter, sparked a 91-yard drive for a touchdown. With 3 minutes left to go in the game, Hall of Famer Dave Whalen started chucking aerials, and a 45-yard pass to Bernie Doherty netted Hopkinton the tie. The Hillers won the next 2 games against Bourne and Our Ladies of Newton, and going into the Thanksgiving Day game, which was being played in Hopkinton, They were 7-0-1, while Ashland was 7-1. Ashland was believed to have played 5 hard games and may be more resourceful when the chips are down. Ashland won the toss and deferred, and Hopkinton drove the ball 60 yards to a touchdown by Cross with the extra points kicked by Dave Whalen, his 12th successful try in 13 attempts for the season, which is pretty impressive back in the 1940s. Ashland scored on a 50-yard pass play in the second quarter, but the PAT kick was wide. Play went back and forth for the rest of the game with plenty of scoring opportunities on both sides, but the Hillers hung on and the undefeated record stood. That night, a victory parade was staged with well over 90 cars parading through the streets of Ashland. It was a hard-fought, clean-cut game that any team might be proud to say they won. And the 7-6 victory over our traditional rivals climaxed our first undefeated season since 1931. The record won second place for Hopkinton in the state's Class D. Over the course of the season, they outscored their opponents 184 to 48. Dave Cross and Arthur Lowell were named Class D All-Stars. Congratulations, 1947 football team. Volume up, okay. How about this, a little closer? Better? All right, our next inductee, Rick Brault, class of 1969. When Rick Brault was taking the floor in the Walter Brown Gymnasium at Hopkinton High School, the place was packed. He was a big draw and was idolized by all of us young kids who were going to the games at the time. His teams were very competitive in this extremely competitive Tri-Valley League. In addition to being the star on Coach Burt's basketball team during the winters, Rick also played a season of tennis and 2 seasons on Coach Burt's baseball team in the spring. Rick's teammate and fellow inductee, Charlie Brock, says Rick was one of the best shooters he ever saw. That includes the 100 of players Charlie saw over 40 years as college coach. Too bad there was no 3-point shot. Rick would have killed it, says Charlie. Rick was a highly recruited basketball player after being one of the league leading scorers his senior year with over 400 points. He decided on Northeastern University, which he attended on an athletic scholarship, and he was a 2-year starter for the Huskies. Rick graduated Northeastern in 1974 with a Bachelor of Science degree, and when his Husky playing days were over, he received invitations to the Capitol Bullets and Boston Celtics camps. After Northeastern, he married his college sweetheart, Eileen, and they settled in York, Maine, where they raised 2 sons and have 4 grandchildren. Over the next 41 years, Rick was a health and physical educator in the York public school system, including coaching soccer, basketball, and baseball, while winning multiple championships in soccer and basketball. Congratulations, Rick.
Thank you. Little perspective and maybe some clarity. I think back, and we all do, we all reflect with the books that we develop ourselves, you know, and the pages we turn back, and we do reflections. And when I was invited down here, of course, the pages got turned way back, and I think about why I'm here more than anything else. And I was a gangly, somewhat awkward high school teen with a little bit of a spark for the game of basketball. And there was a coach that entered my life, Coach Ken Burt, and he threw a little bit of gasoline on that spark. And he made it become a passion for me. And he turned my life around. With that passion, I was able to get a degree in college, which I probably shouldn't have gotten based on what my high school grades were. And when you said that I decided on Northeastern University, I think that that was the only college that would stick their neck out for me because of my grades. But I'm glad they did. And I think about that era more than anything else, and that was a big part of my reflection. And that era was a time where men and young boys in sports was a huge focal point, and the women in sports was not. And if I could dedicate my honor to receive this, it would be to all those young women that never got recognized.
Thanks, Rick. Well said. Our next inductee, Charlie Brock, class of 1971. Charlie was a three-sport standout at Hopkinton High School. In the fall, he was shorthanded, hard-blocking, tight end, and an intimidating defensive end for Coach Aubrey Doyle. In the spring, he captained the tennis team for Coach Paul Bento. But it was during the winter when he shined the most. Charlie was an imposing defender, and with HHS Hall of Fame member Terry DeLeo and teammate Kemi Hain created an almost undefendable offensive force. During his senior year, he set the then school season rebounding record with 241. After Hopkinton, Charlie went on to star on the Springfield College basketball team and deepen his bond with basketball. Bonds that ran so deep it led Charlie to a long and storied career in college basketball. Charlie graduated from Springfield in 1976 and coached there while working on his graduate degree. He later became head coach at Drew University, Gustavus Adolphus College, and Trinity College in Texas, before returning to Springfield, where he remained for the next 24 years, for a total of 42 years of teaching and coaching. During his career, Charlie's teams won 586 games, 356 at Springfield. He led 7 Springfield teams to the NCAA tournament and led the Pride to a Division III Final Four appearance in 2018. He was a board member and president of the National Association of Basketball Coaches. He was given the Glenn Robinson Award, which is presented annually to the top Division III coach in the nation. Next month, Charlie will also receive the prestigious 2023 Larry Smith Award, given annually to the person who has used their opportunity through basketball to ultimately change their life, has given back, and has made a difference in our world. Quoting Springfield Athletic Director Dr. Craig Poisson, he had this to say about Brock. It's particularly special for Springfield College to have Coach Brock recognized at the same event as Dr. Ed Steitz, as their impact on the sport of basketball is celebrated, mentioned Poisson. When Coach Brock returned to the campus as a teacher, coach, he brought with him a formula for growth and development that he led to success, and such continued during his tenure on our sideline. Aside from multiple NCAA tournament appearances, including a historic Final Four run in 2018, Coach Brock embodied our humanics philosophy by serving others in his many leadership roles, from his Dream to Read program to improve literacy in the city of Springfield, to his national leadership within the NABC. His impact through the sport of basketball is deep and wide-ranging. When Charlie Brock speaks, his message is powerful and contains the substance to make a difference. Congratulations, Charlie.
I was just told at my table that when I spoke, it was loud also. I'll try not to be. I am very honored to be here. Loved hearing what Ricky had to say, and if I'm allowed, I'd like to make a few comments about a couple of people that I think are dear to us here in this room. I don't know how many of you may be old enough to remember Coach Doyle's math class. And on the wall, he had a big clock. And under the big clock, he had a big sign, "Time passes, will you?" I always thought that sign was directed to me. I went out for football, and I was this long drink of water, and I'm sure Coach Doyle looked at me and said, what am I going to do with this guy? So he made me an end, and I caught a couple passes just to make DeLeo look good. But he made me a defensive end, and he gave me 3 rules. And the first was, don't let anybody get outside of you. I'm like, I have no idea what he's talking about. Get your hands up as soon as the quarterback goes back to throw and hit anybody that gets near you. That one I could handle. It was one of the first lessons I ever had of simplicity in coaching. 8th grade, I grew 6 inches. 9th grade, I went out for basketball and I got cut. I wasn't happy. So I went to work and came back as a sophomore, and Ken Burt looked at me and he was probably saying the same thing. I don't know what I'm going to do with this guy. But he could be sure that he ain't shooting like Ricky Brault. He's not going to pass and handle like Terry and Kemmy. He's not going to jump like Ricky Phipps. And he's not going to shake and bake like Ronnie DeMichael. So, rebound, Brock. Get the ball. Well, I said, okay, I can do that. If he said something about the fact that I couldn't knock over anybody else that wanted the ball in the process, I missed that part of the instruction. But again, a lesson in simplicity, and I don't know how to say it otherwise. I have used that at the KISS principle. You may have heard it. Keep it simple, stupid. I've used it my whole career in coaching to try, no matter how much I thought I could do more, to keep it simple. So one last thing, and Ricky being here, and I'm sure there are others in the room as well. Just think about the number of lives that Coach Doyle and Coach Burt touched, and the number of people, in turn, those people touched, and how it magnifies. I am one. Ricky was one. It's an amazing thing. It's a wonderful thing. What am I forgetting here? I just want to congratulate all the inductees of the class of 23, all that those that have come before, and those that will be inducted in the future. It's a great honor for me. I appreciate all that the guys on the committee done. Davey Hughes is one of our Springfield boys. We love that. Aubrey's been good. Mr. Stickney's been great. And Aubrey, just good thing. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree, I can tell you. I know how much work goes into it, and greatly appreciate it. Go Hillers.
Hello. It is my distinct honor to introduce our next inductee from the class of 1979, Nesta Carner-Eanes. Nesta was a TVL All-Star in field hockey, basketball, and softball. She was a multiple-year starter for all 3 sports, and she was a star for the field hockey team. She was presented the Student Athlete Award at graduation in 1979. After graduating, Nesta took her talent to Salem State College, where, starting as a freshman, she began a string of 4 selections to the MASCAC All-League Field Hockey team. Along the way, she was selected Team MVP, All-New England All-Star, and a National Field Hockey Coaches All-American. In 2003, Nesta was inducted into the Salem State Varsity Club Hall of Fame. Into her adulthood, Nesta has remained an athlete and a role model to those around her. It is my particular honor to induct her, as she is my aunt and one of my biggest role models. Nesta Carner-Eanes.
I'd just like to say thank you very much to the selection committee and to getting honored here today. It makes a big difference. It was quite a long time ago, and I think that it's important for us to understand, as the folks before me have said, we really are building a foundation for our young children. And what we learn from teamwork, from learning to participate as a team, from learning to lead a team, and from learning to just get through as a team sometimes, is really the foundation of who you are and how you live your life. So thank you very much for the recognition. Very proud of my niece, who's followed in the footsteps of Hopkinton athletics and is coaching now in the athlete. So thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Nesta, Auntie. and the person that introduced her was Nisi Jess. So thank you both. So I have three. I'm going to go Johnny Donovan, then the 93 Super Bowl, and then Jamie Keeler. So Johnny's not here. No one's going to accept for him. So if you want to know about him, there's quite a bit of information there in his accomplishments. But the one thing I want to tell you about is something a little bit different. He wore the number 42. Why did he wear the number 42? Because Richie Shalosky made him wear the number 42. Richie played tailback before John. And before Richie was Paul Hill. Paul Hill wore the number 42. Paul Hill is in the Hall of Fame. Richie Shalosky's in the Hall of Fame. Johnny Donovan, you are now in the Hall of Fame. The triangle is complete. So now, the 93 Super Bowl team was unique. We started out 1 win and 2 losses. But the MIAA, the Mass Committee that runs the tournaments, has started to evolve into what it is today, so we have the entire state into it. But it was broken up into numbers, small versus large, and of course, Hopkinton being in the small. There were 2 teams that went to the Super Bowl from the Tri-Valley. It was Bellingham, one of the teams that beat us, and us. But we didn't know we were going to get there. We had 1 win and 2 losses. Coach Simos just started coaching, am I right? Yeah, you just started. We brought him aboard. And we were walking up after beating Ashland 6-3, which is a great game, one of the better games ever. Anyway, we're walking up from, it's now called Field 1, Coach Burt. We have all kind of numbers on the fields, you know. Yeah, well, we have so many fields now, we don't know what to do with them. Anyway, we're walking up, and we found out that Holliston had upset Westwood on Thanksgiving, and that allowed us to get into the Super Bowl. So that was really quite a lot of lady luck. I shouldn't say lady anymore. But anyway, there was quite a lot of luck involved in us getting there after starting 1 and 2. So the 93 Super Bowl team, you are now in the Hall of Fame. Now I got to go to Jamie Keeler. I thought we were the first team to be to win a state title. But along came this little runner, and to find out, her team was in the state championships the year before. So Jamie started out with 6 years on the cross-country team. Now, she didn't redshirt herself. She didn't stay back. You could play for 6 years. You could play as a 7th, 8th grader, because back then, if you played under the same principal, the same school, you were allowed to be on the varsity team. So in doing so, she wins 2 state titles. These are state titles. I'm not talking TVL here. And then she goes on, she's a basketball player. That's really her forte. She goes on and plays basketball for Coach Bliss. Coach Scanlon had her in the 6 years. God bless him. And Jamie wins another state championship. How many people win 3 state championships? And then in the spring, she played a little softball for, who was their coach there? Oh, who was it? Brian King, correct, sorry. When you get old, you forget, I'll tell you. Anyway, Jamie, you put up with Coach Scanlon, you put up with Coach Bliss, and Brian King, God bless you. And that's why partly why you turned out the person you are, because she went on to at Ithaca, and she did the same thing. She won the championships, and that's what she does. And the last thing, she won a free throw shooting contest. State. I mean, wow, we could add that to your resume. 4. I mean, that's pretty good. Jamie Keeler, come on up.
Thank you so much. Wow, that was quite the, it brought back memories, I had no problem, playing sports in front of hundreds of people, right? But right now I'm terrified. I'm just like, I gotta speak in front of them. But yeah, you just summed everything up perfectly. I mean, I want to thank you so much for everybody here. It's truly an honor. I want to thank, my coaches, Coach Scanlon, Coach Bliss, Coach King. Coach Scanlon, I wish he was here, but he always taught me if you pee white, it's just right. As being a cross-country runner, you have to, be, fluid and everything, and it's just all that. But also, I just want to thank my parents who are here right now. They gave me all the car rides and the support and the everything to, give me the opportunities I have. And yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I'm terrified to be up here right now. Thank you so much.
My name is Steve Simos. I'm a teacher and a coach at the high school. And we're going to begin with our next inductee, Margie Grabmeyer. Mary, can you hear okay? Can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Margie attended the Wharton School of Business at University of Pennsylvania, where she played Division I volleyball. Wow. It's impressive. Now, I apologize, Margie, but I don't have the time to read all your accomplishments, but we'll give a taste. In her 18 years leading the volleyball program, her teams won 307 games for a plus 800 winning percentage. Sit down for this. Those wins led to 7 TVL titles, 7 South Sectional titles, 4 state title appearances, 3 state championships. Didn't get it done in that 4th one, huh? In her final season, the Hillers capped off the state title with an undefeated record. Personally, Margie garnered 7 TVL Coach of the Year awards, 2 Metro West Daily Coach of the Year awards, 2 Boston Globe Coach of the Year awards, a Mass NFHS Coach of the Year award, an MIAA Coach of the Year award, Northeast Regional Coach of the Year award. In 2014, she was inducted into the Massachusetts Volleyball Coaches Hall of Fame. None of those honors speak to Margie's true impact as a coach. For most of her 18 years, she and I were colleagues. I say without hesitation, there's no coach or program I respect more. You did it right. There's more. Over the years, I had dozens of Margie's athletes in class. This week, I asked one of those former players for her thoughts on Coach Grabmeyer. Without hesitation, she said, "Margie is the best." When I asked her for more, she always found the perfect balance between disciplining us and loving us. What more could a coach ask for? Margie, thank you for your contributions to the athletes of Hopkinton, and welcome to the Hall of Fame. There's your plaque.
Okay, I'll keep it. Where's Jamie, who was up here before? I don't like this either, so whatever. I'm with you, girl. Thank you. Thanks, Steve. First of all, I'd like to thank Aubrey and the selection committee for all the hard work. I'm honored to be here, and especially with this group of coaches and athletes, so congratulations to everyone here today. And it's really nice to be back in Hopkinton. I live on the Cape now, but this was home to the Grabmeyer family for over 30 years, where my husband, Joe, and I raised our 3 kids, made friends, shared memories. My Hiller journey started in 2001 after reading a Help Wanted ad in the Hopkinton Crier for a freshman volleyball coach. I saw the ad run over and over, week after week after week, and I finally turned to Joe and I said, maybe I could help them out. They sound desperate. That was the beginning of my coaching career. Coaching volleyball was a blast. I liked being able to contribute to the town and the schools, and I liked working at the high school with the other coaches and teachers. I loved spending time with the players and getting to know their families, who are my Hopkinton neighbors. 20 years literally flew by. We had a lot of fun, and we had our fair share of success during that time, and I'm standing here because of that success, but I'm not alone, as there are many, many people who should be recognized for what we were able to accomplish. So thanks to the athletic department, the school administration, and the boosters for constant, unending support. Also to Mike Tarosian and HCAM, the HHS band, the community, the fans. It was an honor representing Hopkinton. Thanks to all the Hiller volleyball players then and now who dared to be great and dedicated themselves fully to the team each year, including past players who are here today, Emma Sweetapple, my daughters Maggie and Angie Grabmeyer, Jessie Carner, and fellow inductee Jess Titus. I wish I could have coached you. It was just before I started. But the players are the ones that made the program what it is today. Thank you to the many coaches who shared their wisdom with me over the years, especially those here today, including Steve, thank you, and current varsity coach Emma Sweetapple, and the best volunteer coach ever, Mary Bransfield. Thank you to my friends and family who know way more about volleyball after 20 years than they thought they ever would. And those here tonight include my cousin Kathy Jordan and best friends Pete Bransfield and Peter Gallagher. And thank you to my immediate family, Joe, Maggie, Ramona, Joey, Yaz, and Angie. You were always very understanding to me of my time coaching and proud of what I did. You made me want to be better. And Joe especially, your belief in me gave me the courage to start coaching. I was able to do what I love for 20 years because of you in the stands cheering me on season after season. So for me, being here tonight caps a wonderful coaching career. I'm forever grateful to have been part of Hopkinton Athletics' family of athletes and coaches, and forever thankful that I followed up on that desperate Hopkinton Crier Help Wanted ad. So thank you, and go Hillers!
Thank you, Margie. So this one is special to me. This is a player from my first team. His mom was my first parental complaint. Because his brother was my first cut, so it really worked out great. But now they're family. Jeff Golden was a key performer and captain on the Hiller basketball team. Jeff cemented his Hall of Fame career, however, on the baseball diamond. 4-year starter, captain, MVP, Jeff earned multiple league and Metro West Daily News All-Star selections. Most significantly, he's responsible as any single person in transforming Hopkinton baseball into what it is today and leading the program to its first tournament appearance in a quarter century. His time at Hopkinton was only the beginning. Jeff attended Princeton University and helped the Tigers win 3 Division and Ivy League titles. I got to interject a little story. He was looking at Dartmouth, and yes, and he pitched in their first tournament game, and he was outstanding. And the coach walked away, and I ran after the coach and said, "Are you going to talk to Jeff? Can't play at our level." Dartmouth's in the Ivy League. Jeff went to Princeton, which is in the Ivy League. Dartmouth never made it to the finals. Jeff won 3 and left in the Princeton record book. So he's a good coach. He later kicked my sons and I out of the batting cage up at Dartmouth, so I'm not a fan. Anyway, Jeff went on to play professional baseball in the Independent Frontier League. I'm proud to have coached Jeff and to call him a friend. He is incredibly deserving of this induction into the Hopkinton Hall of Fame. Jeff Gold.
All right. I didn't really write anything down. In the Dartmouth coach defense, I did give up 2 home runs. So he was like, I thought he'd be better. So it does happen. So I didn't really prepare anything. I just want to say a couple of thank yous to everybody from Hopkinton. Like I live in Ohio now. I'm always really happy to tell somebody I'm from Hopkinton, and I loved my time at the school, and I loved being there. And like, I'm really glad I came here, because there's so many people here who I haven't seen in a long time, who I'm really excited to see. And I know like there's so many people that I had as teachers and coaches, like Coach Davis and Coach Burke. Coach Davis coached me in junior high basketball. Coach Burke coached me, he was my gym teacher, and Coach Hughes was a teacher at the school. So it's really nice to come back and see a lot of people. Like as far as, so I just want to thank them and thank everybody who's on the committee who put me in here. Then I just want to say some thank yous. And first of all, my father, who passed away 17 years ago, he coached me in Little League. He was the president of Hopkinton Little League, came up all the way through. So he taught me everything I know about baseball, but he also taught me, everything about being an adult and being a man and, doing the right thing. So I want to thank him for that. My mother, who came with me tonight, I also want to thank her for always being my biggest fan and always coming to all my games and doing all the traveling and stuff. I always remember at my games, my mother would yell "Heart." That's what she would yell at me. And that's not going to the Hall of Fame. It's whenever I say nice things, I get a little choked up about it. So, but my mother would come to the games and she would yell "Heart," and it was really not even about winning and losing. It was always just about how you played and how hard you played, and never quitting. And so that was kind of a lesson just for baseball, but also for life. I want to thank my brother Jay, who teaches at Hopkinton and is a lifelong Hopkinton teacher and has been here forever. I think, Aubrey, I think said we only get 3 minutes. I would probably be here all night if I tried to, name all the things Jay has done as a teacher, as a coach in the community, all that stuff. So I just want to thank him for all his hard work. And probably the best thing I can say to you is that, now I'm going to get really choked up. But Dad would be really proud of who you are. So there's that. And then, of course, I just want to say thank you to Coach Simos. But before I do that, I just want to say thank you to Mrs. Sullivan, who 31 years ago, the school committee made the really, really brave, really courageous idea that was very unpopular at the time to hire somebody who didn't even apply for the job, which was Coach Simos. He applied for the JV job, and they hired him to be our varsity baseball coach. And I think very few people can ever say they made a decision that has paid such big dividends for the place they were in charge of and the programs that they had under their control. So thank you for that. And I also want to say thank you. I thought I saw Mrs. Simos here. I just want to say thank you to you and to Tim and to Stephen for always sharing Coach with us through all those years. Like, I know it's probably not easy to always share a family member with so many people who want a piece of their time. But thank you for that. And to Coach Simos, so I actually was telling people I was mad that I had to follow you because you're usually kind of funny and people like you a lot. And so I want to come up after somebody more boring. But so when Coach was hired, it was my freshman year, and we had no idea who this guy was. There was just a rumor going around the school they'd hire some guy named Sam Samoa to be our coach. And it turned out he was a really good coach. And like he said, we made the tournament. Jay was a senior and I was a junior. We made the tournament for the first time in a long time. And our story, kind of him as a coach, didn't end there. I think, he told the story. My freshman year in college, he drove 3.5 hours to New Jersey to watch me play in a league championship game. It was a doubleheader. He sat through both games, and then he turned around and drove home. My senior year, I actually blew a save and cost my team the league championship. It was the last time I ever wore a college uniform, and so it was all my friends and everybody, and we would have gone to the tournament if we'd won that game. And I was really upset after the game, and I went down the right field line, And Coach, it was over at Harvard, and Coach Simons was there, and he was the person who jumped the right field the fence and came down and talked to me, and kind of consoled me after that. Like, he was always there. He was at my wedding. He's been at my brother's wedding. He was one of the only people. Oh, now I'm gonna get really choked up because he was one of the only people that that my father wanted to see and was allowed to see my father when he passed away. He taught my son's a junior in college now. He taught my son how to hit, and now my son's in college now. And when he was looking at colleges, Coach actually got on Zoom and had a call with him, and he had pictures of like 1 million schools, and just said, these are different schools, and this is what this one looks like, and this is what that one looks like. So it's really good to have that relationship with somebody, and somebody who's more than a coach and has been part of our lives. And I think looking back, you know, everybody always wonders what makes a good coach, and I think for me, and I didn't realize it until my son played for Coach Simons and took hitting lessons, a good coach is somebody who, I think they know a lot about the sport, but the biggest thing they do is, you know, I was a terrible coach and I just yelled at everybody and yelled at my son. But having him hit with Coach and learn from Coach, I think the biggest thing that a lot of kids can walk away from and have walked away from is kind of that confidence in yourself, and that you can do anything, and kind of whatever you want to do, you're good enough and you can play. And I think that's kind of like a priceless thing that a coach can have, and Coach Simons always had that. So just wanted to say thank you, and thank you for this honor. And Aubrey, sorry I ran a little bit over. Need that. Thank you.
I don't get that choked up talking about my wedding. So. He stole my Jeff stole my thunder a little, but because I wanted to make special note. I don't think it's hyperbole to say that there's not one person in this town that does more for the kids of this town than Jay Golden. Really. This one's also special. Mari Levine. The definition of athlete. At HHS, all she did was earn 12 varsity letters, captained 3 sports during her senior year. From the soccer field to the basketball court to the softball diamond, she was the best we had. Mari led the Hillers to the 2001 state title and won the Metro West Daily News 3-point shootout for good measure. Oh, and by the way, Mari was voted class president, testament to her character and leadership. She attended Brandeis University, starting all 4 years at shortstop, captaining the team during her junior and senior years. Mari Levine left Brandeis among the all-time softball greats to play for the Judges. Mari is currently an executive editor at America's Test Kitchen, and from what I hear, she's dominating people on the pickleball court. Please welcome Mari Levine for induction.
Thanks. I can't do this off the cuff, so I wrote a speech. Firstly, thank you to Aubrey and Mark and the selection committee and everybody involved in putting this on tonight. I know it's a lot of work, and we're all really appreciative. I also have to warn you that I read this to my partner, Kate, on the way here, and she said that it was far more introspective than she expected it to be, so just bear with me. So I wasn't sure what I was going to say up here tonight, so I asked ChatGPT to write a 3-minute speech for me. It was horrible, it was terrible, it was total trash, so I'm not going to read it. But there was one line that was spot on, and it said, "Being inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame is a recognition of not just my achievements, but the efforts and dedication of an entire community." So when I reflect on my high school athletic career, I think about all the people who helped me succeed. I think about every member of my family, especially my parents, Gail and Alec. They were at every game, and in my dad's case, a lot of my practices. As an adult, I have more of an appreciation for just how much effort and coordination that takes. They made it seem effortless. One of my favorite photos of my parents was taken at after one of my high school soccer games. They're standing on the field. They both have these big smiles. My dad's holding a couple of soccer balls because he probably had been the ball boy that game, which is a job that is usually reserved for players' younger siblings, but he just loved to do it, and he still loves it. Even now, when we get together, he tells me to bring my gloves so we can play catch. I think about how supportive my teammates and their families were. When you're a teenager, it can be really difficult when someone else gets the spotlight. And when I think about the night I scored my 1,000th point, I remember how excited my teammates were. I think about all the friends who had come to the game to cheer me on. And it was really flattering, and I had worked really hard for it. But I only succeeded because I was surrounded by people who wanted me to. I also think about my coaches and mentors, including Dick Bliss and Mr. Simos. Blissy was really hard on us, but we also had so much fun. I remember just wanting to make him proud, feeling a responsibility to live up to what he thought I was capable of on the basketball court. And Mr. Simos had so much wisdom without being preachy. I still remember one piece of advice he gave me. He told me that I should run out to my position at shortstop every time I stepped on the softball field because it sends a message that you're eager and you're serious and you're ready. So I did that every game of my high school career, and then I did it every game of my college career, and then I even did it after college. I was probably the only person on my slow pitch beer league softball team just sprinting to my position every inning. So one of my most vivid high school memories happened the day of the state championship game at then the Fleet Center. So Sunny Pearson was assistant coaching some of the season with Blissy. And if you don't know who Sunny is, she might be a member of the Hopkinton Athletic Hall of Fame. But she's an incredibly successful Hopkinton basketball player, went on to play at Yale. She was my idol growing up. And we were warming up on the court. You could tell we were all really nervous. And Sunny called us over, and I expected her to give us this heartwarming kind of psych-up speech. And instead, I'll paraphrase, but she basically told us to quit being babies and get our shit together. And it really just kind of gave us that perspective we needed, and I think about that a lot. So many of my best friendships and favorite memories were made playing sports, most of them in Hopkinton, and I'm really grateful for this honor. I want my family, my coaches, teammates, and friends to know that I couldn't have done it without them.
Tyler. Where's Tyler? Tyler Call. As his football coach, Dave Hughes, stated, Tyler could do it all. Excuse me. He was a force on defense, offense, special teams. Tyler was a team captain and a TVL All-Star. But it was on the baseball diamond that Tyler took things to another level. As someone who has seen every baseball player at Hopkinton for the last 30 years, I can tell you that he is the best infielder that's ever put on this uniform. I didn't like the way you caught the ball initially. Anyway. Yeah, well, you worked on it. Okay. As a bonus, he had a career batting average of over .430, collected more than 100 career hits. It was an honor to again coach Tyler as he helped lead our Milford Legion team in 2001 to a New England championship and a World Series berth in Washington, Seattle, Washington. I was thrilled that Tyler would go on to play college ball at Southern Connecticut State University for one of my closest lifelong friends. All he did was then lead that team to the Division II College World Series. Tyler, it's an honor to welcome you into the Hopkinton High School Hall of Fame. Honor to welcome you into the Hopkins Our next inductee is Sean Terry. Sean was yet another multi-sport athlete, having, you laughed at that. I'll explain. Having competed 4 years on our outstanding cross-country team. But Sean was honored tonight for transforming Hopkinton High School swim and dive team. According to his coaches, young swimmers and opponents around the state took notice of a young man who would gain respect and prominence for Hopkinton swimming. He was a league champion, a South Sectional champion, a multiple-time state champion. In 2005, he set the South Sectional record at the Division II state meet. His mark still stands in the HHS record books. Sean earned multiple all-scholastic honors from the Boston Globe and Herald and qualified for All-American consideration. Sean went on to have an outstanding career in the breaststroke at Division I Fordham University. For his efforts serving the homeless population of Boston, Sean has been honored by numerous organizations, including receiving special recognition from Mayor Marty Walsh during the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2015, he was inducted into the inaugural Top of the Hill class honoring distinguished Hiller alumni. For all that and more, Sean, welcome to the Hall of Fame.
I sound good on paper. Well, I'm grateful that they acknowledge my cross-country career, because I do want to thank Coach Scanlon for saying this isn't the sport for you, but we like having you here. But I want to thank the induction committee for this tremendous honor and for this amazing event, and congratulate all the other inductees tonight. Swimming's always been a really important part of my life, and I wouldn't be here without the support of my family, my parents, Mike and Karen, my sister Laurel, my grandparents, Tom and Elaine, for all their support through the years. Swim meets are really long, and I swam in the second to last event of the meet, so all of their support was really, really important. The swimming and diving program at Hopkinton when I was there was very small. We swam in the dual county league multiple seasons. I was the only boy on the team. But we really had a very important community, and I'm really happy to see how the program has grown and look forward to seeing more swimmers and divers inducted into the Hall of Fame in the future. But even though the team was small, I never felt lonely, and I want to thank my swimming community of friends, teammates, and coaches, especially my best coach, my mom, and yeah, for all their support, so thank you so much. Thanks.
Allison Berkey. Allison was the type of athlete that every coach treasures having on their roster. She worked hard, played with heart, led by example. Fortunately, on both the basketball court and the soccer field, she was also incredibly talented. Allie earned 8 varsity letters in 2 sports, became a 2-year captain and TVL All-Star. During her senior season as Hopkinton's team MVP, Allie was selected as a Metro West Daily News and an Eastern Mass All-Star. After initially walking on to a Division I soccer program at Miami of Ohio, Allison earned a full scholarship. Her leadership and talent was obvious. She would go on to captain the Red Hawks during her junior and senior years, earning all Mid-American Conference honors both seasons. During her final season, Allie led the program to the conference championship game. For her spirit, her leadership, her on-field performance, we welcome Allison Berkey for induction into the Hopkinton High School Hall of Fame. I haven't seen you.
Thank you. Per usual, I didn't do what Mari did, and I did not write a speech for this. Secondly, I also married a public speaking teacher, so that was a bad move on my part.
You need to be louder.
Thank you. Thanks, babe. Sports was a huge part of my life, and moving to Hopkinton in middle school was a big change for myself and my twin sister, who also played sports and played soccer for Hopkinton. And a community like this is a dream to move to. So I'm thankful to the community, the induction committee, my fellow peers, Sean, Mari. I was lucky enough to be Mari's free throw partner in her varsity year, my freshman year of basketball, and I wanted to do everything that Mari did. And that's why I work at America's Test Kitchen. And I answer Mari's emails first. No, but it's such a wonderful place, and I'm very lucky to have moved here. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for all the trips, for all the games, the practices, the many, many, many practices. And I should also say thank you to my twin sister, who did just as much hard work as I did. And lucky for her, I just tried harder than she did because I wanted to be better than she was. And she's in Hawaii, so thank you all, and thanks for coming, and I'll wrap it up.
So for the remaining inductees, I want to call back to the mic, Coach Dave Hughes.
Thank you, Steve. But before I start, I want to give a quick recognition to Mike Terosian, who's on that camera down there. And Coach Burt, did you know we have our own TV station here in Hopkinton? We have our own TV station here in Hopkinton. Mike Terosian runs it. He's right behind us. So, Michael, thank you. Okay, my first inductee is going to be Sean Kane. Kane graduated in 2001. No relation to his coach, who has the same last name. Anyway, Sean could shoot. Now, I don't know if he could shoot like Mr. Brault here, but I'd put him up against him. Now, and if you look at the program, Sean, tons of accolades, and well-deserved. And then he went on to college. He did the same thing. But my introduction to Sean was, you know, when you're ahead by 10 late in the game, don't just slow the ball down, Coach. You know, you slow the ball down, you pass it around. No, not anymore. No, not anymore. Sean Kane, he would take it down. They were ahead by 10, 12, 2 minutes left in the game. Up it goes, and in it goes. They don't slow it down anymore. And you can see that with the three-point play. And there's, of course, now there's a clock on it. You have to shoot so in so many seconds. And Sean Kane is just, he loved it. He loved to shoot, and he could shoot. It didn't matter with from the elbow, out there by the threes, a layup. Sean, come on up, and welcome to the Hall of Fame.
Thank you. I'm going to try to keep it together here. I'm truly honored. I'm humbled to be included in this class with all these incredible athletes. Congrats to everybody, and hats off to Aubrey for just putting on this incredible event. I think it really speaks to the type of community that Hopkinton is and has always been. And just being here tonight has really triggered a lot of really good memories for me, which has been really cool. And yeah, I share this award with my beautiful wife, Melissa, who is here with me tonight. She never saw me play, but she's heard some exaggerated stories about, my career and our team. My parents, Karen and Mike, who are longtime Hopkinton residents until about 5 years ago. My number one cheerleaders over the years. Would not be standing here without you guys, so I really appreciate all your love and support. Yeah, my aunt and uncle are here, also Walter and Mary from Boston. They came to a ton of my games in high school, home and away, like in rain, like in a blizzard, it did not matter. You guys always showed up, so I always appreciated that. And yeah, I was really lucky to have just a countless number of incredible teammates, coaches, teachers, friends, relatives that just, kind of without whom I just would not have had half of the career that I had. So, obviously like a lot of hard work on my end, but it makes it a lot easier when you have those kinds of people around you. So yeah, I'm honored. I'm really excited to be here, and congrats to all the inductees on your incredible accomplishments. And yeah, I'm a proud Hiller, so cheers everybody. Thanks.
All those stories are true. Before we go any further, we'd like to thank the Hopkinton Country Club and especially their head chef, Sean Balian, right over here. Thank you. The next Hall of Famer is Jimmy McConey. And just look in the program and look at that smile. He just came off the football field, and he's got a grin in his face. That's Jimmy. He kept everything in perspective as far as I'm concerned. He was a great athlete. He, Boston Globe, All Scholastic, Boston Herald, All Scholastic, and for you young people in the audience, those are newspapers. Jimmy was a Class D state champion twice with the 4x100 meters relay. He also was in the let me see. He was on the student council, which is good, like that balance. He was in the National Honor Society, and he was also in the Spanish National Honor Society. So Jimmy, don't come up here and start with that, the Spanish, because not very many of us would understand it. But I'm sure you can speak both languages now. Jimmy went on to Bowdoin, and he played up there football and track. And Jim, welcome to the Hopkinton Hall of Fame. Get this out of your way.
Yeah, it's a great honor for me. I have so many memories of my time here in Hopkinton.
A little closer, Jimmy.
I had some great coaches who gave me lots of opportunities to play and to succeed. Guys like Bobby Venezia in hockey, TJ Spinks and Ian Fowler, JV football, Coach Hughes and Coach Phil Schlosky. They gave me the opportunity to play running back on the varsity football team at a time when I didn't have a lot of experience playing football. I'm really grateful for that opportunity. Growing up as a kid in Hopkinton, I had watched all the great football teams from the 80s and 90s, including the 93 team they mentioned earlier. And so it was really special for me to be part of that tradition, to play for Coach Hughes, to play on Friday nights and Thanksgiving in front of so many people from the community, to enjoy all the off-the-field traditions. I had some great teammates in all the sports I played. Football, I ran behind some really talented, tough offensive linemen like Jeremy Kenny, Kevin Drew, Chris Stickney, Brian Solfaro, Mike Peschler. In hockey, I had some really skilled line mates like Peter Edwards, Brian Solfaro, my brother Jack. I had a lot of support from my family. My sister Ashley, she spent so much of her childhood watching her older brothers. She ended up being a really successful athlete here at Hopkinton and in college, where she ran track in Division I. My brother Jack, who's here tonight, he was my teammate in football and hockey. He was a 1,000-yard rusher in football, 100-point scorer in hockey here at Hopkinton. My parents are here tonight. They did so much for me. They made the important decision to raise their family here in Hopkinton. My mom encouraged me to play football and talked my dad into let me play. Both my parents coached youth sports in Hopkinton and were involved with restarting the hockey program back in the mid-'90s. And it was so nice for me to finally be able to play hockey for Hopkinton after all those years, having to play for Ashland Holliston when Hopkinton didn't have a team. It's really impressive to see the recent success of the hockey teams, particularly for those of us who were there at the beginning, and we can remember how much time, effort, money was required from so many people to get that restarted, and also, how difficult it was to have a winning season in the challenging Tri-Valley League. My parents always found a way to make it to my games, even though they had busy schedules with work and with my two siblings. I can remember my dad, in the middle of a work day, he would drive an hour or two to see me run one race in track. I'm really appreciative of all the support I received from the community here in Hopkinton when I was here, and being part of the Hall of Fame means a lot to me because it's a permanent reminder of my time here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. I guess with the papers gone, I guess we could put him on the Instagram Hall of Fame with the most followers. Anyway, my last person before Steve Simos is Ken Lysick, graduated in 2002. Kenny played guard, offensive line, and linebacker for the football team, but the real reason he's here, and he was great in football, don't get me wrong, but the icing on the cake came with his lacrosse prowess. And I can remember watching him. I mean, he had, again, tons of accolades, but I can remember watching you, Ken, and I'd watch the fence, and they'd cover you, I don't know why, but to the right, to your, like you had the back to the net, they'd be over here, and I knew you were left-handed. Aren't you left-handed? So he'd just give him a little head fake, turn around, and flip the ball into the net. I mean, he was unbelievable scorer and defensive player too. Kenny Lysick.
All right. I had originally prepared something, and it's way too bland and generic, so I'll just speak from the heart. And I think I'm almost last, so I'll try to keep it as quick as possible. Playing in Hopkinton was always amazing. One thing that anecdotally I thought about while I was sitting here, I was talking to Mark and Jack and a couple other guys that I played with my entire career, was our football team. That stretch of 4 years was so good, and I don't think people realize this. I can count on one hand how many football games we lost. My freshman, JV, and varsity games. Outside of the Bellingham game mentioned earlier, I think we lost four games total. And we were like, we probably should have been way better than and gone way farther than we did. But that actually really almost sometimes hurt me because I really didn't understand how to lose once I got into college and was playing sports in college. I was like, wait, we can lose games? It's like, what? We can lose that many games in a row? Another comment was on my lacrosse career. We were the first team. We were the first varsity team. I know a lot of Hopkinton was a heavily baseball school. I'm sure Steve Simos was pissed that I had great hand-eye coordination but didn't have any attention span to play baseball. Which honestly obviously bothered me as well. But we managed to put a lacrosse team together, which is a newly growing sport. That sport really has developed into something crazy today. But at that time, we were the Bad News Bears of Hopkinton. We took everyone under, Coach Gates took everybody under his wing, brought in everyone. We probably, we literally were the Bad News Bears. There was probably spray painting going on behind things that, like, I don't know. It was crazy. We were a misfit group at the time. But to see where the program has gone now from where Coach Gates had started everything, and where now I couldn't name all the coaches in between in the last 20 years here, but where Dan Norton has brought it. We're sending kids away to D1 schools every year. So it's amazing to see where the program has developed to. As for my overall career and my childhood, I can't thank my parents enough. My dad was a Pop Warner football coach since I was able to play football. He coached everything up until 8th grade, I think. Continued to coach. He never missed a game. He would haul his butt back from Boston every day to make any game for me or my sisters. My sisters all were Hopkinton athletes as well. And my mom was at every single game as well. This is an amazing honor. I really wish I had prepared a little bit more. I can't thank you all enough, and thank you to all my fellow inductees and members of the Hall of Fame. Thank you so much. Love you all.
Thank you, Ken. Great job. Well, the last person before we turn it over to Aubrey is going to be Steve Simos. Now, Jeff Golden stole my speech. Tyler Call stole my speech. So you kind of know what Steve Simos is all about already. And he modeled himself after Coach Grabmeyer, which is awesome, because he is the male version of you. He has an outstanding program in baseball. Whatever he touches. So the only thing I can say, because everything's been said, is that Steve has already received a national award in baseball. Jay Golden introduced him to the Massachusetts Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame, this past spring, was it? Yeah, good job. I read about it. And now Hopkinton's finally caught up, and we're gonna put him in the Hopkinton Hall of Fame. Steve Simos.
Thank you. So I've been told, congratulations to all the inductees. It was an honor to actually watch 13 of you during your time at HHS. I wrote mine out because I was told 3 minutes. And so this doesn't count, this little part. Because I was thinking of Kenny. Where's Kenny? The anecdote, you said you were the Bad News Bears. Lacrosse even has to use a baseball analogy just to get it. Later. Yeah, I know. You kind of like, what were you going to say? All right. So 3 minutes. We're going to start now. I've been really fortunate over the past few years, as people have said, to receive some wonderful coaching honors. And then I realized, and Aubrey had the programs made, I looked in the program and I realized that my wife was correct. I've worn the same clothes to each of those banquets. So it's not a lucrative profession, and I've officially become my father. So I also realized when helping to plan the event that this evening is much more special to me than any of those other awards. Those awards, I'm going to maybe cry. Those other awards were essentially about baseball and having players win a lot of games. Tonight is about my family's association with a town and how lucky we are. This may be a cop-out, but I'm not going to try to name people individually. I was starting to do that, and it took like 14 minutes. So when I tried to list all the assistant coaches, the players, the sub-varsity coaches, friends that have impacted me in this town, it was ridiculous. It would take the entire 3 minutes and get me in trouble when this is on HCAM. I'm really proud to be from New Haven and West Haven, Connecticut, but Hopkinton's become my hometown. Because of my coaching and teaching at HHS, Cheryl and I have found what I believe to be the perfect community to raise our 2 kids. Their growth was fostered largely with the help of the people in this room, particularly over there. Their mentors, their role models, friends are all Hopkintonians. What a stroke of luck. If I weren't a failure as a businessman, I would have never found my way to coaching and teaching. I'll share a quick story. I found a job, my first job as a coach at Westwood High School, JV baseball. And it was possible that this would be the place I settled and hopefully landed a teaching job once my degree was completed. Since it's a TVL school, we were going to play at Hopkinton. I had never heard of Hopkinton or any of the towns in the Tri-Valley League. Fortunately, a family issue arose. They tend to arise a lot in my family. And I had to miss that game when we played Hopkinton. It was one of only 2 games I missed since 1991. My Westwood team beat Hopkinton, Jay can confirm, 35-0. Yeah. I wasn't even at the game. Well, at the end of the year, I was replaced by a teacher in the school at Westwood, and I was in need of a job. My lifelong friend, John Gibbons, calls me up and says that the Middlesex News, that's a newspaper too, has a baseball job posting at Hopkinton. I said, what's the Middlesex News? Still not knowing anything about the place, I decided to apply. If I had actually seen how truly bad the players were on the Hopkinton JV team with my own eyes, I would never have taken that interview. Anyway, I was hired, and the rest is history. I would ultimately get a teaching job and never leave. Beyond baseball, I was given a chance to coach football by Coach Hughes and be part of the school's only Super Bowl winning team in history. He never really let me talk to the players about football, but he said I was in charge of keeping them back off. I was the get-back coach. So when they got too close to the field, I said, get back. All set, coach, you call the plays. Eventually, he let me call plays, and after 6 or 7 years, he let me call a pass play. So I would later serve as head football coach and have my life impacted by a player battling an incurable illness. I was also able to coach softball for 5 of the most fulfilling years imaginable. I actually think I am the answer to a trivia question. Who is the only person in history to coach a Division I softball team, Holy Cross, and a high school softball team at the same time? I did that. One season, I coached them both. The girls were so incredible, they agreed to practice indoors because I had college practice, and in the mornings on Saturday and Sunday mornings at 7 a.m. before I had to go off to my games. Those were 5 of the greatest years of my life as a coach. At Hopkinton, I was able to see men like Dave Hughes, Dick Bliss, and Mike Scanlon truly transform lives on the field, the court, and the track. It was a great place for a young coach. Little did I know that it would be such a long run. I was told by my high school coach to always remember to be a teacher coach, which meant you were a teacher first. After being in the business so long, I realized that was good advice, but almost unnecessary. Coaching is teaching, and both are 100% about relationships. Players like Jeff Golden and Tyler Call took care of the winning. Our job is to communicate with and care for them. I've been so fortunate to learn from my students and my players for 31 years. The positive relationships I made are incredible. Thank you to everyone who's here tonight. I promised I wouldn't name names, but there are a couple of people I have to mention. First, Aubrey Doyle for working so hard to keep the history of Hopkinton athletics alive. Coach Hughes, yeah. Coach Hughes for being a true Hopkintonian. He is Hopkinton through and through. He's still working to support the school and for giving me a chance to be a part of such a remarkable time in Hopkinton football. We were a football school. I think Coach can verify this. Whoa, 1992, my first year as a teacher, there were 52 students in the senior class, 17 boys. I had 17 boys, true, in my period 3 class Friday. There were 17 boys in the entire senior class. How many played football, Coach?
At least half.
Yeah, at least half, 16. If you've seen recently, our school's been ranked like #1 academically in the state. He went before it took the leap. Mark Stickney, Anne Marie, and Mike Sullivan for being my son's godparents, for hiring me. That shows you the family this has become. You've been wonderful examples to my sons, and we thank you for the opportunity you gave me. And my sons, Stephen, for allowing me to coach you, for being such a great leader, a great ambassador for this school, for letting me treat you like shit. Timmy, for working so hard, serving your country at this challenging time. He's currently in Poland, and being such a man of character. And Cheryl, for being the one person by my side through my career transitions, the losses, the complaints, and the joy. And for letting me devote so much time to a profession that keeps my wardrobe so limited. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sure. Now I have to follow that, huh, Steve? Great job, and great job by everybody. Just to kind of wrap this up, thank everybody for coming, and I hope you all had a great time. I know I did. I want to thank the committee. I know everyone keeps mentioning my name, but it's not just me. I got a passion for this, but I want to recognize the whole committee. So if you guys could all please stand up. Mary, please stand up. Mark, Dave. Mark Ostrander. There's Mark Ostrander. Mark, Steve, and Mike, and Jesse. You guys could all stand up. These guys all put in a lot of time, effort to make sure that all of you folks get recognized, and that's what's important to us. Is that that we carry this forward, that those folks you do get recognized and you aren't forgotten. And it's funny because listening to folks talk, we started this back in the early 1990s, and we started it. Part of the reason was there was a lot of school choice and all that, and people were leaving the school, and there was discussion about how bad things were, and it was like, no, we need to turn this around, and I think it's safe to say that we've been able to do that. And that's not us as a community, that's the whole community. So thanks and congratulations to everybody. I'd also like to thank, if I can read this now, thanks to all of our sponsors and to the Country Club for a great venue tonight. Great job. And finally, all the congratulations again to all the inductees. There will be plaques in your honor that'll be up in the school that are outside the cafeteria. It's called the Wall of Fame. And so everybody's up there, and people do recognize that. So not just the plaques that you're getting, but they'll be there. So thanks again, everybody. Go Hillers.